Hey, Dylan Fry, the real estate guy, here to be your guy for any real estate needs in the Kansas City area. Today, I brought in a special guest. It's my broker, Matt Brown. And Matt has helped me further my career, and I just wanted to help or get some information out there from him about what things to do when you're looking at buying a house and what things not to do. And then also, if you're looking to sell or anything in the Kansas City area, we're going to touch on some of that stuff today as well. Before we get into it, though, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to check out more interviews like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then also hit that little bell for notifications of any future videos. So, like I was saying, we got Matt Brown in here today. Matt is my broker, and he is helping agents further their business. So that's one of the big things why I chose RE/MAX Advantage, is because I want to be big time. I want to help a ton of people buy and sell their homes and be different in this real estate industry. And it's good when you're looking, if you're getting into real estate or you're trying to choose a real estate agent, that you get somebody like that and it's like mine and always pushes you to go to your next stuff. So I brought Matt in here, and we're going to touch on a ton of stuff. So let's get into it. Matt, tell us a little bit about you and how you got into the real estate industry and your entire background.
So I went to college for broadcasting, so clearly I'm using my degree. Did radio sales after college. It's a tough, cutthroat business. There's not a lot of money in it. It seems like it's kind of a dying dinosaur, basically. So I got into real estate 8 years ago. It was a family business. My parents had kind of been talking to me about it for a couple of years, trying to get me into the business, and thought I'd be good at it. So I decided to make that leap of faith in mid-2015. Got my broker's license 2 years later. Parents are kind of taking a step back. I'm taking a step in, and that's, so I've focused more on the residential stuff, but I love being able to help agents like yourself grow, who get into the business and see, the sky is the limit, as well as, earn the respect of people who've been in the business for 30-some years.
Yeah, and that's something that I really appreciate when I was looking for a broker, which it was a little bit different when I came to you, because I set up my insurance business in your office before I sold it. And that was the first thing that when I was out there interviewing different spots, is I knew that as soon as I met you, that you were going to be somebody that cared about my business, whether it was the insurance. And then we instantly started hitting it off on the real estate stuff and just gaining that knowledge in our office. So tell me a little bit about that. How have you structured the office to bring in that, when you walk in, you've got that knowledge base of, we've got some older agents, we've got some younger agents that are getting started in the business. How did you create that culture?
Everybody's new at some point. So a lot of offices don't like to bring on new people because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of babysitting, hand-holding, and the fail rate is extremely high. So people don't want to put all that effort into watching them disappear. But my mentor told me never be scared of hiring somebody that's brand new to the business, because once again, we're all brand new at some point. Yeah. So as long as you can kind of train them the way you want to and show them kind of the ropes, then, you can mold them. And, I was in radio prior to this. I don't think anybody gets out of school and goes straight into real estate. It seems like everybody has an insurance side, a car salesman side.
Everybody's got a background.
Exactly. And so, it's finding a way to use those strengths. I could just tell when I dealt with you on the insurance side that you kind of had what it takes to be a real estate agent. You know how to talk to people. Like, we can teach you the contract stuff, but it's growing you into, nurturing your leads and building a business. A lot of people get in this business thinking it's going to be easy and I'm just going to open some doors and show some houses and make a ton of money. And that's not really the case. You are starting a business that's brand new off the ground, and we view ourselves as your business partner. We're going to be with you from step one, showing you how to open those doors and everything, but also grow your business naturally. And that's kind of our style in our office. There's relationship-based and there's transactional-based real estate, and we are very relationship-guided, that type of real estate, because a lot of your business is going to come from people so it's us helping tap into that sphere of influence for you to grow your business, because that's going to be the most sustainable, market-proof way to do business.
Correct. And I think that that's one unique thing that our office focuses on is, yes, we have that relationship, but we are constantly like having meetings about what different avenues can you branch into, because this is one avenue. And then I know we've got a newer agent that's looking at commercial, and that's one of the cool things about our office is everybody has backgrounds, and everybody's kind of touched different people throughout their life. So if somebody has something that they're going into, we bounce a ton of ideas off of everybody.
Our strategy is very simple, and we help you tap into that strategy, and it's proven. So as long as you kind of follow the steps, we help you create it to where it's, catered to you, but it still falls under the same umbrella of our strategy. And, we're big on development. When you hear other offices talk about their training and their stuff, we truly mean it. We're a relatively small office, so you get a lot of hands-on training. We cater our training and schedules to the agent specifically.
Correct.
We, a lot of brokers you'll hear don't answer their phones after 5 p.m. You called me at 9:30 plenty of times, and I
don't know how many
answer.
times. Your wife probably hates me
Yes,
sometimes, because
but that's the name of the game. A lot of real estate's 24/7, 365. Fires don't wait to get put out at 7 p.m. You have to address some problems when they're there. So, we're basically in this together, and so that's why I like our office, because we are all equals and we're all in this together, and we're going to help grow each other.
Our YouTube channel is a lot about moving to Kansas City, so we're going to get into that here in just a second, but I want to touch on one last thing. What do you think is the 3 biggest reasons that agents fail?
They do not realize that this is a business that they are starting. They think they're going to come work for RE/MAX, and in a way that is true, but like I said, we are business partners, and we are helping you start your business. I can show you how to do everything, but I can't make you go talk to people. So what's going to happen is people come in, they sit down, and they're kind of like, okay, when do I get to go show houses? And that's just not the case. You're going to come in, you're going to sell your house, your mom's house, your neighbor's house, your best friend's house, and then all of a sudden you think you're killing it and you don't need to do anything. And now 6 months in, you're in a dry spell, and your pocketbook is emptying really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. Even in the short time I've seen agents come in like that, and with either in our office or other offices that come in and have that same exact story multiple times.
I mean, we had 4 agents start at the exact same time. You were one of them. We had 2 who followed our roadmap and are still in the business and thriving. And then you had 2 who didn't do anything. They only came in to the trainings once a week for a couple of hours. They thought it was a vacation, and they thought they only needed to work those 2 hours a day, and that was it. They didn't go home, and they weren't doing anything that we, like I said, our proven strategy. They weren't doing any of that, and they're no longer in the business. And so it's motivation and mindset that we're not going to tell you what to do, because you are your own business. You don't see somebody opening up a restaurant and just opening the door and saying, come to my restaurant. Like,
right.
It's just not, it's not that simple, because what's going to happen, you have to stay in front of people, because
that's why we're here.
Your best friend is going to use somebody else if you're not staying in touch with them. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, my cousin just used somebody else. I'm so upset. Well, what'd you do? Well, I posted on Facebook 6 months ago that I was in real estate. That's all they've done. And that's not a smart strategy.
And that's one of my biggest things with doing this is, one, I want to stay top of mind, but I'm bringing in different business owners and different people that I really appreciate their opinions. Like for you, as an example, I really appreciate your opinion, and the slate of people that I've got lined up on this, I appreciate their opinion as well. And I want to help them further their business, because these things, doing stuff like this, content and being consistent with it, that gets you out there in front of a ton of people. And you just have to do it every single week. And I think that's one of the biggest killers of any business, is just not staying in front of your people, because out of sight, out of mind.
Well, you can't be fake. I mean, you can't fake being real either, because
Correct.
You may get one transaction, but they're not going to come back to you. Yeah. And that's the whole thing with our strategy, is we want clients for life. That's how it's a market sustainable career. is when you have people who are coming back to you and they are referring to you. But if you're fake and, people can see that and
Correct.
they're going to use you one time, they're going to be like, I am never using that person ever again. And, getting out in front of people, a big saying that my mentor has is you can't be a secret agent. And that's the truth. You have to let people know you're in real estate. You don't want to be the guy that's calling somebody every other day saying, hey, where's my leads? But if you legitimately care about people, they're going to know you're in real estate and they're going to want to help you.
Yeah, and you have to add value to your base. And that's one thing I'm trying to pride myself on, is adding value to every single person that either watches this channel or that I get in front of. I want to add some kind of value, whether it's their business, it's their home purchase, their home sale. I want to be able to add value to them. And I think if you approach it that way, and you, instead of, I want the money from this transaction, you are going to have lifelong clients and you're going to get a ton of referrals from those.
My philosophy is you treat people right, the money will follow.
That's true. That's true. So with that being said, we've got a ton of people that watch this channel that are looking for tips on moving to the Kansas City area. You've been a real estate agent in this area for a long time now. So what are 3 of the things that people need to be aware of if they're looking to move to Kansas City?
A kind of a funny meme that I saw the other day is so true. It says, buyers think it's 2008, sellers think it's 2020. And we're somewhere in between. The right house is still going to fly. So don't come in. Lowballing is always just a ridiculous tactic.
Yeah.
And, it's like the person whose parents haven't bought a house since 1985 are always saying, don't pay full price. You never pay full price for a house. Right now, you may not have to necessarily pay full price if it's overpriced, but you're still going to run into some competition. So you still, listen to your realtor. There are a lot of numbers that realtors can look at that can dictate kind of if the house is overpriced. Obviously, you don't want to make an offer at full price. There are things realtors can look at to dictate what is a reasonable offer and, kind of what the market is doing. But if the right house, you're still going to get multiple offer situations. So a lowball offer is going to be,
not considered.
Laughed at.
Yeah.
2 would be, you still want to move quickly. It's funny, when I started, you could be talking to somebody on a Tuesday and they'd be like, hey, can we go look at houses on Sunday? It's like, yeah, that's fine. Fast forward a couple years ago, and if you didn't get on the house that day, there's a chance that it's not there tomorrow. So you still want to have some urgency out there. And then the third thing for, buyers in the Kansas City market, I guess, is know where you want to be, because, every neighborhood's going to be a little bit different. So find what you're looking for and just know that realtors don't have a secret stockpile of homes. The inventory shortage is still a real thing, and it's going to be a real thing for a while. So, give your agent a little break when you're upset with what's out there, and don't think, that we're all just hiding the secret houses.
Correct. Well, and nobody has a secret stash of homes, but I encourage anybody that wants to buy a home or is looking to find an agent that's going to try and go find you a home too. Because if you're just waiting around for the property, you're always going to get those competitive properties. So and that's one thing that I've taken from some different agents that are extremely successful, and it's helped me to this point, is I have a lot of connections in different areas, and I'm not afraid to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, who's looking to move in this area? Because I've got somebody that's interested. Let's go figure this out. Or different marketing tactics. There's a ton of different options out there for agents to be able to find them. You just have to, when you're looking, I think that's one of the big things, is find an agent that's going to work for you, not just send you that search.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that being said, so let's talk about people that are selling in the Kansas City market. We see a lot of for sale by owners. We've seen it a lot in the last 3-5 years. It's become even more, because houses have been selling so quick. People are looking at those other alternatives, and you're seeing a lot of things go pretty quickly, even in that for sale by owner market. what is your advice to those people that are looking to sell their house, and even if they're not using a real estate agent?
Well, I mean, real estate agents did a lot of disservice to themselves in this industry over the last couple of years by posting on Facebook, hey, 13 minutes on market, I had 12 offers, 15 of them were over asking, all cash, wage inspections, look at me, how awesome I am. Now you're a for sale by owner and you're thinking, I could do that.
What are they doing?
Yeah, I can do that. Not every house was still selling for $15,000 over, and I think for sale by owners realize that when you put your house on the market and now people are calling you, agents are calling you and harassing you, it's just not worth the hassle for them. And then their house sits on the market forever because they took blurry pictures and just, agents did a disservice by not talking about our strategies and the tools that we use to get that house sold, professional photos, drone photos. There's a lot that goes into marketing a house.
Yeah, and having a following of people that are watching you for as you build this business, agents having that following of buyers in different markets is huge. That helps sell houses pretty quickly.
The connections. I mean, like you said, we have agents in our office, so anytime we get a new listing, it's sending a message to everybody saying, hey, I got this coming up. What do you have? And just kind of working it that way, whereas for sale by owners may not have that luxury. As a seller who's hiring a real estate agent, best tips for you are decluttering, staging your house. That makes a huge difference. If you list a house that's not brand new and it's vacant, there's nowhere for your eyes to go but to find the bruises and the bad things that your house is going to show. So people are going to walk through and be like, this house needs painted. So, paint's not that big of a deal, but if the carpet's bad and the paint's bad, they're going to sit there and say, well, it's going to cost me $5,000 to fix this. So now, I'm in a multiple offer situation. This house just isn't worth it to me. And that's how you end up sitting on the market for a couple weeks. Neutral colors are a big thing. There are two types of people in the world. There's the ones who can see past your furniture. They can see past your pictures and envision themselves in that home. And then there's the other half who can't. You have to cater to the half that can't.
Correct.
And so, listen to your agent. Your agent's not trying to be mean to you by saying, hey, let's get rid of this awful pink color and go more of a gray. I think it's going to be more beneficial. The other big misconception that sellers have is if I replace my carpet that's really trashy and I spend $1,200, my house is now worth $1,200 more. And it's like, no, there's kind of the deferred maintenance. Like,
correct.
That carpet may cost you $1,200, but it may have cost you $6,000 on an offer by somebody coming in $6,000 to $10,000 lower because it needs new carpet. And it's like, would you rather have spent $1,200 on carpet and gotten the full price offer, or somebody's going to come in and say, I need $5,000 for that carpet?
Correct, because they're gonna come back on inspections and different stuff like that, and they're gonna start diving into that stuff like, oh, why is this? Like, and then I always know when I walk into a house and I see blemishes like that, I'm like, okay, well, what else is going on? Because there's deferred maintenance here. So that's where it ends up costing you a ton of money, is because you see one thing wrong, then you're like, okay, now what are the 6 hidden things that are wrong?
And just because you put $10 into your house does not mean you're going to get $10 back out of it. And, that upsets sellers, but it's the realistic truth about it. So, staging, lighting, professional pictures, virtual tours are a big thing that people love. And then your internet presence, marketing, because it's people love to house surf on the internet. They're sitting there bored at work. They want to look at things, and as a buyer's agent, when I'm working with buyers, I don't remember. We look at a lot of houses. So the way I remember houses is by giving them nicknames. You don't want to be a nickname house. You don't want to be the creepy doll house, or, just some of the stuff that I've seen in people's homes. It's just, you don't want to get yourself a negative nickname, and you want to give yourself a positive nickname or have that feel to it. And so if your agent's saying, hey, kind of smells like dog in here, we should probably get the dogs out, find a way to get that dog smell out because you don't smell it, but everybody else isn't. Be like, oh, that was the doghouse.
Correct. And that's something that is awesome, having different opinions, and you bring somebody in, and that's one thing that agents have to get comfortable with, is being that bad guy. And I did a lot of my background with insurance. I was selling a lot of life insurance, and having those conversations is very tough. And it's helped me in this industry because I can go into a house and say, hey, like, I understand that this is not what you necessarily want to hear, but somebody's got to tell you. And that's a big thing, is when I come in and tell you, like, hey, you got to clean this area up, because otherwise it's going to look like, hey, they can't maintain this. How are they maintaining everything else? And that's the thing that you don't think about on the everyday.
Exactly. It's the decluttering and staging aspect of things makes a huge difference when it is clean, show ready, and it just makes a huge difference, which making a huge difference can be the difference of $10,000.
Yeah. Well, and you have to think about everyone in this world with online presence and everything. There's a ton of haters out there, and they're going to want to pick apart your video or that you've got. If you've got anything in the background, they're going to want to pick apart your photos if they don't look correct or anything like that.
I mean, there are Facebook groups that make fun of real estate photos. It's a lot of it's in the bathroom of you taking a picture of the bathroom and you're sitting right there in the mirror. Like, we're all going to look at that and be like, come on, man. Like, that is, let's be ridiculous. Let's be real here. I had an agent who took a picture of their shoe, like, on the concrete patio, and that was one of the lead photos. And it's like, come on, you are doing a serious disservice, because, you may get thousands of views, but it's because everybody's making fun of the boot.
Correct. And they're showing everybody in the office, like, hey, look at this. Look at this thing.
Exactly. And then the third thing is pricing your home for where the market is going. The market has been a crazy, you can just throw any number out there and somebody's probably going to pay for it. And so the way to kind of still get that multiple offers and drive your price up is stop looking at prices that were in June of 2021. Like, things are they're leveling out. We're not going down. But you still don't want to be super high and overprice your house, because now it's going to sit, and it's going to sit longer, and now you got to do price drops. And people, the longer it sits on there, the more people think something's wrong with it. So if you price your house where the market is going, not where it's been, you'll be in a better situation. Yeah,
and to touch on pricing, you need to make sure that if you're working with an agent, that they have empirical data to back up that price, because it comes across all the time. Like, you can put your house for, say your house is like, all the data supports 450,000, and you're like, but I'm selling for 500. Well, that's awesome. And you could put that on paper. And if somebody's bringing cash, but a lot of times even cash buyers are doing appraisals. Like, they want to make sure that they don't want to waste their money. If they've got that much money, they're not looking at just throwing it into something. So
numbers don't lie.
Correct.
I mean, numbers are very black and white. And so that's our job as a listing agent, is to get you the most money for your house. That is what my end goal is. That's what I want to do for you, is to make you the most money. But we have to be realistic with what has sold. It's not my fault your 3 neighbors have sold for $50,000 less than you wanted, and they have nicer houses than you. Like, I can't control that, but that's what is the deciding factor kind of for your house.
Yeah, and appraisers have, like, a lot of appraisers ended up in prison in 08 because they were doing things and agents were putting their thumb on them and forcing them to do things that they weren't supposed to do. So now appraisers, a lot of times we can't talk to them. The lenders can't talk to them. There's different scenarios. Like, you're not influencing them in any way. They have to have the data to back up that price.
Correct. And we basically have the same data that they have. So I try, and when I go on a listing appointment, I'm trying to look at the way an appraiser would. So that way we aren't shocked if something comes in low. We kind of know why. Every now and then you'll get the one that just doesn't make sense. But for the most part, we like to be, we know the ballpark range of where your house is going to be.
So let's go back to some photos and stuff. when people are looking at selling their homes. So what are some things that you've seen in photos that you would advise people to either put away or maybe make these repairs just to make it look like the photos are a little bit
bulky furniture? Like I get, if you have a smaller room, I get you love a king size bed. Everybody wants to spread out. But when you have a 10 by or an 8 by 8 room and your bed is taking up 6.5 feet of the room, like you're not doing yourself any favors. So,
Correct.
It's staging is hard, but it makes a huge difference. It's decluttering, it's getting certain dressers out. It's, the ridiculous posters of a teenage boy's room, like, take the stuff down. The other thing is animal heads. Like, I get, you're a big hunter, you love that thing, be proud of it. I don't really care, but there are going to be people who don't necessarily love that. We had a good laugh about one of the properties this summer. It was farmland and a house with a bunch of acreage, and they posted all the dead deers that they had shot on the photos of the house to show the size of, the deer that are on the land. And it's like, I had the amount of people in my office that were just like, that is
messed up.
And it's like, I probably wouldn't have done that. It's the same thing if somebody has a pool, and it's winter. Well, the owner's going to send you pictures of what the pool looks like when it's open, and there's a pool party of people in it. Like, nobody wants to see pictures of your pool party.
Correct. I mean, and that's something that a lot of people don't take into consideration when they're showing a house is you may get that 10% that are interested in the same things that are just like you. And that's an agent's goal, is to try to find that market that's like you and market your house properly. But sometimes, I mean, the other 90%, they're not interested in the same things you are, and you may put off a buyer by saying, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not touching this house because I know they've done things that I don't agree with here."
Exactly. That 10% that is into, the dead deer photos, they're probably, if the photos aren't in there, they're probably saying, well, I really wish this house had some dead deer photos in it. That would really make me go look at it. They're still going to go look because they're going to say, yeah, this property, I could hunt on that property. But now you've driven away the other 50% who are just like, well, I don't want anything to do with that house. Our job as realtors is to get as many people to see your house and try and get your house sold and cast a wide net.
Yeah, cast a wide net and try to catch the people that really love your house so that you can end up in those multiple offer situations. And when you narrow it down by just those little things like in your photos and adding those things in there, when you narrow down your audience, you're going to miss out on some people.
Yeah, and the same thing with photos. I always tell my buyers, don't ever buy a house because of pictures. Don't ever throw a house out because of pictures. Look at the hard numbers. The black and white, the square footage, the rooms, the room sizes, because I don't know how many times I went on a showing yesterday or a house we have under contract and the designer was there. She's like, I'm really glad I came because I could not get a feel of this from the pictures. So that's why virtual tours help. And you can make a virtual tour from your iPhone. And people love to know the feel of the layout and kind of see how things look. So the more you can provide that for your seller, the better it'll be.
So what are some big questions that agents ask you when they're looking to come into this business and they're trying to figure out, how do I talk to people? What are the things that they're asking you about?
Well, I mean, you want to know, to be successful in this business, you have to talk to a lot of people. And so it helps when you have that big sphere of influence. Like, I had a really large group of friends in college and high school, and I'm still close with all of them today. And so that made me feel like I had kind of a leg up going into this business. But there are people who come in that move from Minnesota and are just starting over, and it's like, you have to get out there. Because our strategy is that relationship based, doesn't mean because you don't have a sphere of influence that you won't be successful. It may just take a little bit longer because you're having to start from square one, but it's building that database and it's getting those people and to trust you and staying in front of them and naturally building that database over years. People, that's a thing that people really struggle with is, how do I get out in front of people? And it's like, you're always in front of people. I don't know how many times I've talked to people at a bar where it's ended up giving them my card. I talked to my chiropractor yesterday, and the first question everybody has is, what do you do? And when you say real estate, everybody has a real estate story.
They do. And I think one of the biggest struggles that agents have when they're talking to anybody or their friends or family or trying to break into that sphere is that they're looking at it from a monetization point.
Yeah.
Instead of how can I add value to you?
Yeah.
And if you're constantly going to people and you're trying to get money out of them, they start to stop picking up your phone calls.
Yeah, stop. It's the same thing. It's the person who posts their pyramid scheme that they're a part of. I lost 38 pounds in 2 hours. Message me to find my secret. When they just post that over and over and over again, you start to skip past them and unfollow them and block them. It's the same thing. If you're going to be calling all of your friends and say, hey, where's my real estate lead? You got anything for me? Like, I am the least pushy real estate agent out there. When we're looking at houses, I'm not trying to sell you that house. I'm trying to pick flaws out as well, because you're the one that has to live there. I don't have to live there. And so I want you to be comfortable, because I know when you made the right decision, you're going to tell all your friends and family that I was the least pushy realtor, and they're going to go to bat for me. And I've had clients in the past who have called for sale by owners saying, you need to use this guy. Like, yeah, that's the best type of advertising and marketing there is.
Yeah, and that goes back to a value add. Like, you have to add value to whoever you're working with. And by being that person that is telling them, hey, this is not a good idea, instead of just being that yes man that's like, yeah, I'll do whatever. And like, sometimes you have to, you're like, hey, I'll do it. But you also give their feedback like, hey, we can do this, but you're going to run into issues. This, and this is what you're going to be looking at.
And that's where I tell all my clients, like, my job is to lay out just about every situation, scenario possible, and let's make the best decision for you. Ultimately, you make the final decision, but I can kind of give you, here's what's going to happen if you make this decision, and let's try and steer you down the right path. But you ultimately have the final say.
So I know the answer to this one, but I always love hearing your point of view on this, and I think agents change their point of view on it. Do you treat clients different based on where their price range is?
No. I try and make it as fun as possible for everybody. I try and treat my $60,000 buyers the same as my $6 million buyers. Obviously, most of the time, the $60,000 buyers are a little more challenging, but it's all about making it fun, and it's instilling confidence, especially with buyers. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and so in this market, it's been tough, but it's preaching to them like, we're gonna find the right house. So, I try and I tell every person when I first meet with them, like, I'm gonna try and make this a fun experience, because this is going to be a very stressful time in your life. It's one of the largest purchases you're ever going to make. And you never know when that $60,000 buyer is going to turn into a $2 million buyer, or have a cousin or a friend who's going to be a $300,000 buyer. You just never know. So, you treat everybody the same and just try and get them in a house.
Yeah, we were all there at one point.
Exactly.
We all started somewhere. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is working with different buyers. We're trying to educate everybody, and being able to add, again, I say it a ton, is adding value to people. It's the biggest thing out there, is as a real estate agent, as in any industry, add value of your profession and the money will follow. Follow.
And those who have the most conversations win in this business.
That's a true point, is you have to be out there in front of people and just constantly getting in front of people if you're in real estate. And if you're looking to move to this area, you're looking to move to the Kansas City area, you want to work with somebody that is out there too. So you can follow them on social media and different stuff like that. If you're looking for agents then you need to find somebody that is very active, because if they're very active, they have a lot of connections. And that's how you find those unlisted homes or something out there that maybe you get a tip on it because it's before the market and you're a preferred buyer. And they're like, hey, we want to sell our house, but some people are scared of going on the market. I mean, they're like, I don't want a bunch of people in my house. And today we've went over a lot of stuff, both from the real estate agents looking at getting into this, and then also people that are moving to Kansas City, some tips on what you should do, what you should look for. Also, if you're looking at selling, some things that you should and shouldn't do. And I really appreciate you coming out and supporting every endeavor I take. I encourage people, if you're looking for a broker, find somebody that aligns with what you want to do. And I'm always, everyone comes to me and says, hey, you're a dreamer. And I am. And I love the fact that I can bounce ideas off of people and get their feedback and say, I'm still going to do whatever I want to do. That's at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to do. But having those support systems that are like, hey, do it and do it big.
You want a broker who's going to get down in the mud with you.
Yeah.
And, support that, because your business, like I said, we treat you, you're running your own business. So, it may not work for somebody else in our office, but it's working for you. So why not keep doing it? It's
correct.
You want a broker who's going to support you. And, the funny thing is you talk to other agents and they're like, oh, yeah, I went here because they said they had all this training and support and all this stuff. But I don't really feel like I'm getting the support. So then it's hard, because the offices that truly offer the support and training, when we say, no, trust me, our training is very hands-on for you. They're like, yeah, well, my last broker said that. And it's like, you don't realize how good you have it until you don't have it.
Correct. And then people that have never been in this business, they don't understand what they could have from a different brokerage that helps guide their career. Because that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and a lot of other offices, bigger name brands, kind of want you to join a team. And that's, that may not be the best route for you. It may be the perfect route for you. For those people who just struggle to come in and are like, where's my next lead? Joining a team may be the best fit for you, because that's a team can help generate leads for you.
And you get to learn.
But if you're somebody who's joining a team and they're just like, hey, where's your lead? Like, you might as well be on your own, and we're going to teach you how to do that.
Correct. I think that's the biggest thing. Well, hey, Matt, I really appreciate you coming on today. I believe everybody needs a guy or gal that's going to help them in their move to Kansas City, and it's been great to be able to learn from you and realize how I'm going to add value to every one of my clients. And I'm always picking your brain around stuff, so I appreciate you coming on.
Always.
If this is your first time to the channel and you really love these interviews so that you can make that move to Kansas City easier for you, make sure you hit that like button, and then also subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that bell for any notifications of future videos or future shorts that we're putting out, because my goal with this is to add value to you by helping your move to the Kansas City area better. And if you're looking for an agent, hit my stuff below, and we'll get together, and I'll be able to help that move, or your move to Kansas City, make that a smooth transition.
And if you're a realtor, need a new broker, give us a call.
Yeah, and if you're a realtor looking for a new brokerage, or you want to pick our brain about how our office works and just the camaraderie and the culture that we have, make sure you give me a call or give Matt a call, and we would be happy to help further your career and help grow your business in 2023.